Hi friends, welcome to Science Jagat. So today we are going to talk about bioethics in biotechnology. The questions we are going to answer are: what is bioethics, its principles, ethics issues, bioethics in gene technology, and ethical committees. So first of all, what is bioethics? Bioethics is the study of ethical, social, and legal issues that arises in biomedicine and biomedical research. So let's see one more time that bioethics is a branch of ethics which is the interdisciplinary study of problems created by biological and medical progresses and its impact in society and value system, both of now and for the future. So it also includes ethics of life or of life science, healthcare ethics, medical ethics, or life ethics. Applications of the basic principles of ethics to the new possibilities opened by the modern biotechnology and biotechnology with regard to human life, professional ethics in allied health. So first of all, let's see what are the principles of bioethics. So, in bioethics, there are four basic principles that are proposed by Buchan and Childress in 1979. First principle is autonomy, that is, right of self determination. So, the concept of autonomy in bioethics gives each individual the recognition of the human capacity for self determination and being different in spite of sharing same DNA, which is regarded as common heritage. Okay. So the next one is justice. Treat everyone alike. So the other side of the possibility for transforming medicine is who will actually benefit. So will everyone have access to such revolutionized healthcare, or there is a fear that it might widen the gap between rich and poor? So in the developing world, the human genome sequence may not be the first choice for the better treatment, where millions of people do not even have access to basic medical treatments. Next is beneficence. So, beneficence is to do well and to promote well being. So the principle of beneficence signifies an obligation to benefit others or to seek their good, and it has been the foundation of many codes. The motive of the Human Genome Project is also based on the principle of beneficence to all. So, be it medical patients, health professionals, public institutions, or private companies. So, beneficence is the impetus for further research into ways of improving health in agriculture and for protecting the environment. Beneficence support the concept of experimentation and it is performed to lead to possible benefits. Now, what is non-maleficence? It is to do not harm or to avoid harming. So it is the basis for the principle of justice and confidentiality and philanthropy. So two main ethical arguments in the Human Genome Project revolve around the moral concept of justice and confidentiality, so that are discussed separately. Now let's see what are the bioethical issues. So these are like abortions, artificial insemination, artificial womb, assisted suicide, plasma trade, cloning, contraception, euthanasia, gene therapy, human cloning, human genetic engineering, infertility, life support, life extension, organ donation, population control, procreative beneficence, procreative liberty, sperms and eggs donation, stem cells, suicide or surrogacy. So these are the issues which are related to bioethics. So let's focus on the ethical issues in biotechnology. See, ethical issues in biotechnology are specific issues that are morally wrong. So some people find it morally wrong and some people might find it right. So such issues can affect the fundamental moral principles that create a massive conflict with the normal working of the society. We have divided the ethical issue related to biotechnology into specific subcategories, and these are socioeconomic issues, cultural issues, legal issues, environmental issues, or religious issues. So, there are several principles relating to ethics, that is, medical ethics, scientific and technological ethics, justice, and human dignity, and its related ethics, and more of such ethical issues in biotechnology. So, let's see them one by one. First of all, what is socio-economic issue? So the scientific community and society promise significant advancement in biotechnology but never use the harmlessness regarding socio-economic life. So such arguments and interactions are some of the most problematic ones to consider. Social economic issues interfere with the natural way or the initial God's processes of learning the environment. So such issues could be related to the cultural backgrounds and could be on the level of different public awareness. The development of technologies destroy the environment, which is a tricky thing. So this is how a socio-economic issue work. Now let's see the cultural issue. People are from different cultures and they have different cultural values also. So different cultures have different thought process and different values. These values are the reflection of their long lasting concepts. Sometimes biotechnology hinders these cultural concepts, which is not something to look out for. So like biotechnology has given us everything to improve the quality of life. Still, if one interferes with the cultural aspects of human, these can be ethical issues arising from such matters. Now, the environmental matter or environmental issues. These are also severe to look out for regarding ethical issues in biotechnology. So, ecological issues might arise when one destroys a living flora or fauna. So this is what we are doing to do this. We are doing gene manipulations. Fine. So gene manipulations of different crops to produce hybrids is one of the most problematic issue, and even most biotech experiments, other organisms are made to sacrifice. So due to such harsh sacrifices, numerous plants and animal species have been mutated regularly. So for example, sugarcane have gone through genetic mutation and recombination, which has continuously destroyed the original constituents of the crop. So due to the prolonged mutation, these crops get mutated for a generation and the gene passes from one progeny to another and degrading the quality of the organism. So this can happen in other plants also, and this can happen with the genetic manipulated organisms, animals also, or microbes also, right? Now, religious issues. So one of the most faced issue with biotechnology is that it hurts people's sentiment on a religious basis. For example, the cow is very sacred by Hindus. So people pray for the animals in countries such as India. Many plants are considered very sacred, and religious issues can be exceptionally sentimental and personal, and people get attached to such matters when we transfer a gene to these like cow and to some particular plants, then it is an issue of religious for people. Okay, so some holy plants and animals are blessed and very sacred to lot of communities. So these communities protect the organism at any cost, and killing these organisms is a matter of deep concern for them, or any genetic manipulation is also a concern for them. Other legal issues. These are special laws to protect many plants and animals. So these laws protect these animals and plants from being disturbed to overcome. Now, many sacred plants and animals are manipulated for experimental purposes from their natural home, and sometimes, due to the limitation of the organism reacting to biotechnology, the choice becomes very harsh. So, in such cases, these organisms, which are very important to do our experimental work on, but this can create a severe law issues also. So, if the sacrifice for the mutation goes wrong, different governments have different restrictions and rules regarding these species and their uses. So hence, a scientist must be aware that it must be legal to operate according to the country's law before using specific species for biotechnology. So for an example, as many people use mice or mouse for their experimental purposes, or other animals for their purpose, for experimental purposes. So now we have to define that how many experimental animals we are using and why we are using this much of animal, and we should try to lesser the number of experimental animals so that it could not harm their species, right? Okay. Now let's see some bioethics in gene technology. So these are ethical, legal, and social implications surroundings. First, fairness is the use of genetic information. So whatever gene we are transferring, and in the organism in which we are transferring that gene, we should be very fair that what is the result of it. We should be very fair about the result. It should not be like that we hypothesize that the result is not going to be benefited, but then also we start gene manipulation. Okay, so it should be very fair. Now, privacy and confidentiality. In medical line, there is a privacy of the patient and there is some confidentiality between the patient and the doctor. Physiological impact and stigmatization. So, beliefs, attitudes, and values concerning genetic diseases. There are many beliefs and different attitudes of people. Some people does not think that there is any genetic disease, right? For epilepsy, they don't think that it is a medical concern in many no villages till now. So this is also a concern, and they need to be educated for that. Commercialization of products including property right, like seed patency. So if the seeds are patented and we need to take permission of the no the person to grow those seeds, then it would be very costly to work on those seeds, and it is not easy for farmers to get those seeds for their farm, right? Now, reproductive issues. Larger societal issues raised with reproductive technologies. Now you have seen there are many in vitro fertilization centers, and they are performing in vitro fertilization, and there is also a technique which is in vitro insemination, right? So there are many issues related to these techniques also, and abortions also, right? So uncertainties associated with gene test and concept philosophical implications. So free will versus genetic determination. Health and environment issues concerning genetically modified food. So beliefs, attitudes, and values regarding genetic disorders. So cultural and societal influences. Religious. So there are many concerns and values of religious and spirituality regarding genetic disorders. Marginalization and Chinese health birth policies, that is Yosheng, or we call it as eugenics. Now, the socio-economic impact, access to information and exposure. So, the people should have access to all the informations, that what are all genetic modified organisms are present, what all are the genes transferred, so that they can be educated and they can understand the need of that gene transfer or the benefits of that genetically modified organism. Now, education. So, understanding of genetic disorders is very, very important for all the people. Now, let's see what are the ethics of the committees. So, the responsibility of an ethics committee is to ensure the protection of the rights, safety, and well being of participants involved in clinical research. Either they are experimental animals, either they are experimental plants, seeds, or the person who is performing the experiments. He or she should also not get exposed to the harmful microorganisms or harmful environment or race. Right? So, this is all. Have to ensured by ethical committees. Like there are Institutional Review Board. So it is an independent body constituted of medical, scientific and non-scientific members whose responsibility is to ensure the protection of the rights, safety and well-being of human subjects involved in a trial by, among other things, reviewing, approving, and providing continuing review of trial protocols and of methods and materials to be used in obtaining documenting informed consents of the trial subjects. So they make sure that um, about all the animal rights, all the patients' rights, and the safety of the human mankind or the species, different plant species, different animal species, well-being of human subjects, and the trials we are taking in the laboratory, the experimental people, right? Now they review your projects that if they are beneficial or not, and at what extent they will provide experimental animals, or at what extent they will give you harmful effects if somehow the project fails. Fine, they approve after analyzing all these things, and they provide continuous review after time interval for that projects. Fine, and the methods and material also reviewed by them. So some ethical committees or institutional IRB around world are Research Ethics Committee, it is in the United Kingdom; Medical Research Ethics Committee in Netherlands; Commits des Protection des Personnes in France; Institutional Review Board in United States; Research Ethics Board in Canada; Human Research Ethics Committee in Austria. Now, what is an EC or IRB? It is an independent body made up of medical professional and non-medical members also. So protects the participants and provide public assurance. Let's see what are the members of these committees. Right? So there is a member secretary, and legal expert, a chairperson, a person who is from outside the institute. The chairperson should be from the outside the institute which is applying. Now there should be a social worker, a theologist or a philosopher. Social worker is needed because he is much more in touch with the with normal people, with the common people, so that he or she would know the exact problem of those people they are facing, and according to that we can plan the project. Fine. An external subject expert, a lay person who just know their problems and not how science work. Basic scientist, a postgraduate person, and a medical specialist, those who are going to work on that project. And the PI is the person responsible for the project. Fine. And this member secretary is from the same institute, the institute which is applying for the project. Fine. So why a lay person is needed? See, what is a layperson's perspective to safeguard the public interest? He or she will tell what is the public interest or what kind of safety they needed from the particular gene transfer from particular medical condition, right? To contribute a user's perspective or patient's voice to professional discussions and review the ICF for language and understanding. And why a legal person is needed? A legal person should be a non-scientific, professional qualification to practice law as per the requirement of the country. Country's law requirement can be fulfilled by that person. So an expert in given field of knowledge and specialized or professional knowledge of subject matter. That is, in this case, knowledge or medico legal cases can be handled by the person. If there is some risk related to that project, or that the GMO which we have produced, for example, if there is a crop which we have produced by genetically modifications, and because of that crop, some population have affected and they get some disease because of that. So because of this legal person, we can handle those kind of cases, right? Now, why have a legal person? This we have already discussed, but let's see some more points. Ensure ethical committee decisions do not contravene the law. Ensures the legal rights of patients are protected. A law person can do this, right? So review the ICF, review insurance of the patient, or review the clinical trial approval. Now, why a social worker is needed as a member? First of all, it is a non-scientific way of thinking. Social worker engaged with an NGO and they can help many people and they can benefit many people and they can educate many people, right? So an expert in given field of knowledge of bioethics, specialized or professional knowledge of subject matter, in this case knowledge of public health policies and societal risk impact. A social worker can handle it properly. Few more points. Is any project likely to cause any social harm? This can be think by a social worker. Now review ICF from to protect right of participants. Language understandability will help in discussion with layman people of the society. Fine. No harm due to socioeconomic vulnerability. Culturally acceptable because people are very much close to social workers, so they are culturally acceptable and they will tell them accordingly that how they will understand our scientific things, right? So no risk due to social hierarchy, no language to undue influence participation. So in case of vulnerable participants, help ethical committee determine measures enhance and protection. All for today. In next video, I would like to describe more about bioethical issues in Human Genome Project. So let's see when that video releases. So do subscribe, like and share our channel for more videos. Till then, bye bye.